Welcome everybody. This is Tom Trimmingham, another episode of We Are M&R, and today I have the great fortune to talk to James and is it Kim at Cedarstream, right?
Yes.
So I just want to you guys go ahead and talk about your company a little bit. Tell us where you're at and what kind of services you offer.
Okay, I'll open. Thomas, thank you today for inviting us. We really appreciate it. My name is James Morris. I'm the president and CEO of the Cedarstream Company. We're located in Northwest Georgia in a small town called Cedartown. We're about 60 miles outside of Atlanta. We're a nationwide screen printing, embroidery, digital. We do signage, all of that. So we're not just a regional, but we cover the whole United States. We have customers in every state, been in business for 30 plus years. And I have with me today Kim Moates, who's our marketing director, and she's sitting in joining us here today.
I've been wanting to talk to you guys for a long time, and I've seen some of the great work that you guys have done. And how did your company start, James? Like, how did you guys get going?
That's a good question. Me and my wife worked in another industry, and part of my job, it was a family-run business, and so when you're in a family-run business, you literally do every job that's available. But part of my job was sales and marketing in my previous job in that family business, and so me and my wife worked hand in hand. She was in accounting, I was in sales and marketing, and the other end of the spectrum. And so I would get her to order me t-shirts and hats as sales tools. So when I would go see clients, I would usually have a t-shirt and a hat in my hand with my business card, and I'd go to the front desk and say, "Can I see Joe Smith today?" Whoever. And if I handed them the hat and the t-shirt, that usually opened the door for at least a conversation. And so I got to thinking, what if we started our own business and we made the shirts and sold them to larger corporations? And so with that being said, as simple as that sounds, that was kind of what got us started. And so we went out and started our own little business. We went to the first impression show or whatever it was over in Atlanta. I bought a little manual screen print press and a dryer. I loaded it on our pickup truck, drove home, and started printing. We started the business. So that's literally how simple it started.
Did you have a moment when you knew you were going to do this? Like, I'm assuming like majority of the time or mostly full time. Did you have a time when that you knew that was going to shift?
Yeah, it took us probably 5 years. We was working two jobs. So we worked our previous job to get our income because this was not an income producing business at that point. So we did that. We kind of played around with it, I call, for 5 years. And then we got serious and said, we're either going to do it or we're not going to do it. And so we decided we was going to do it. We're going to go at it full blast. And we left our family business and started our own business and said, we're going to sink or swim. This is going to make it. And so we did. And from that point forward, it always did make it. We were able to go out and secure the corporate accounts we needed and the business we needed to be able to sustain ourselves. And so we did. We started just me and my wife, and then I hired a relative to help me. And then we bought an embroidery machine. So we hired another person, and we started to grow. We went from 2 people to 6 people to 10 people to just past this previous year. We was at, I think, around 75 employees. So we obviously over the years we have grew and added automation, the automated printers. I started out manually. I learned everything the old way with the ruby lift and the camera system, the developing trays, all of that. I started old school, and that's comical to some of our new kids on the block, if you will, around here today. They're like, "What are you talking about, a camera? And what did you do with that?" So I've been around a while and have enjoyed watching the industry change.
It's fun when I hear those words, those old terms, because I started when I was, and I don't get into it too much on these interviews, but I started back in '91 in Woodstock, when they were filming the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. And at the time, I worked in a double wide, like chrome trailer with no insulation, and I was sitting right next to the dryer, and it wasn't an M&R dryer, so it was putting off some heat, in the summertime. So I'm there in my boat shoes and shorts only, and I'm stippling. If you're familiar with the term, using a rapidograph pen to create halftones
Tones, absolutely, yeah, I
by
understand.
dotting a acetate sheet, and that's how we made our shades of colors, and I think back in the day, and I'm like, well, there was probably something positive about it, maybe, but
That was great. It was a great learning experience. You learned you didn't want to do that for the rest of your life.
that's right. That's right, Jim.
Funny story. When we was getting started, if you remember the strip printer, we talked about this yesterday with a client, but they said, "Oh my gosh, we use that too. We set type and everything. It was no strip printer." And if you're not unfamiliar with the term, Google it, kids. Look that up. You can figure it out. But anyway, we was talking about all that. And when Mac came out, one of my local regional competitors got a Macintosh computer and he got Corel Draw. And so we didn't have that element. We had the old strip printer. Well, I would see his designs and it would just infuriate me. I'm like, how the heck is he doing this? I mean, he's got halftones. How is he getting these sheets cut and pasting these halftones in these designs? Well, he wasn't. He was using Corel Draw in their program. And I couldn't, that was that knowledge. And back in the day, we didn't share information. Print shops hoarded their information. Nobody's willing to share anything with anybody. Today it's a lot more open market, and we've learned so much from other shops, other vendors. We're a lot more open in our industry today than we've ever been, and that's good for all of us. I mean, it's really helping each one of us expand our capabilities and the knowledge we have on printing. It's good. So.
I can't agree more. Now, it just kind of maybe more to get this out of the way, but I'd like to touch on it. Just that what have the last 2 months been like for you guys? Because I know that I've talked to everybody, and that's was one of the catalysts to start these interviews. And honestly, the ironic thing is I get more benefit out of talking about people's other things around it than that. But I think it's important to cover it though, because everybody's experience has been a little different, and I know that your situation down there has been a little different than some in the Midwest and out west. So some people are still under lockdown. So maybe just speak to that for a little bit if you could.
Okay, it has definitely been a challenge, and it still is. I was talking to my team today because we're a nationwide business. Obviously, when schools, restaurants, businesses all across the United States, and they're still not open. I mean, there's still places. I talked to a customer yesterday. He said, we're planning to open in 2 weeks. And I'm just like, wow, 2 weeks still, you haven't got open. And, it's incredible. And so from that perspective, it's affected us deeply. I mean, it's definitely been an effect on us. Here personally, we implemented social distancing. All our visitors have to wear masks when they come into our facility. We keep our 6 feet, our distance, and we do thorough cleaning every day. We clean our doors, we clean our restrooms. Everything's being disinfected daily. So we still have those policies in place, and I foresee them going right on through the rest of the year. I mean, I think all of us as a country have learned that from a cleanliness aspect, we can all do better. We can all do a little bit better at distancing ourselves, covering our face, and that type stuff that, just was kind of new to America, if you will. That's something we've never had to experience. So it has been an effect. We've seen a lot of our clients, some of them won't be back. I mean, we realize that. We've talked to several that have closed their businesses, as well as people within our industry. I've had several phone calls from people that's been in our industry as long as I have that said, this is it. We're locking the door. We're not coming back. And I hate that because I know a lot of them are very good people, but they said that's just the straw that broke the back. We can't do it any longer. This is it. And, that's unfortunate.
That's typical from what I've been hearing too. I mean, it depends on how hard people have been hit. I think some people when their business is 100% reliant on stuff that's been shut down, they end up in a really tough position. Now, we were talking a little bit before we got on the recording here, and you were talking about some of the pivots that you've done. I know you said you've been doing a little bit with masks and different things, and I think a lot of printers have been trying different things with that. What are you feeling as far as the transition or things opening up? I feel like things are kind of starting to come out of it a little bit. You know, I'm seeing some signs of that. What are you guys seeing in Atlanta?
Yeah, you're correct. And we're seeing it from across the country. We are starting to get calls from all over, from say Texas. I've had calls from California. I've talked with several clients we have out west, and they are beginning to open up, and we're seeing orders. So we're starting to see stuff. And as these businesses start to reopen, we're starting to see the apparel come with it. So between our embroidery department, our print department, we are seeing signs. You know, we have a sign shop as well. We print vinyl signage, we print direct on signs and that type of stuff, vehicle wraps. That actually increased during this downturn. So that aspect of our business saw an increase, which was a blessing in disguise. And so we're thankful we had that aspect of the business to help tide us over as well.
What do you think makes Cedarstream different than some other companies? I mean, I know you said you've got a lot of diverse, different types of services you guys do. One of the things that I noticed for that kind of put you guys on my radar was just the kind of the art that you guys do. Like
Yes, sir.
I definitely see that, and I don't know if that was that from the beginning that you guys were kind of art focused, or is that relatively new?
Well, again, as I explained earlier, where my competitor got a map, that let me know in an early stage of my career that art sells. If you got great art, if you got great designs, that is sellable. That's something you can go out to the masses and sell. So that is, our team, I can't stress enough what a great team we have here and how we work in unity. I tell people all the time, we're not a perfect entity, but we work. If we have an issue, we work together to work through those resolutions, solve the problem, and make sure we're taking care of the client, which is what they expect. And so our goal is always the end result. Everybody's happy on the end. We want that client to be totally satisfied. And we've really got a good crew of people. And you're right, art is one of those.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, and I think I'd have one of my regional guys that hangs out with you down there probably would be on my back if I didn't mention how cool of a shop that you guys have. Now, I mean, I haven't had a chance. I've been super excited to come down there and see it, but hopefully you could send me some shop pictures too as well, that I can drop in. But it just seems like you take a lot of pride with how your equipment's laid out and giving your workers a good environment. Is that something that you've intentionally done? Like you've set up the place to kind of make it have a company kind of, you know what I mean, brand and all that? Was that intentional, or is that just something that came out of things?
It's an intentional move. Starting again where I started, we started in an old building in downtown, in the historic downtown. And so we grew out of that into multiple buildings downtown. And so I was literally in 5 separate buildings with equipment in 5 separate buildings. And it was like each one was its own individual business, if you will. And I always called it the maze. We went through the maze daily. We drove trucks around and around the block, hauling screens, hauling shirts. It was a logistical nightmare. And so out of that, this was our vision. And so as we visioned this, we said, okay, we want to get it right. And part of that process was working with our sales team at M&R and all the people with M&R doing shop layouts, revising those layouts, laying each piece of equipment to say, in a perfect world, what would you do? And so we went out in the world and asked people, how would you lay out differently? And then we asked our team, what would you need arm's length so it makes your job easier, and how can we accommodate it? And so that's how we built this shop for screen printing, business. I mean, we built it specifically for our industry and for our business. You know, it's like I told somebody yesterday. Again, we had someone here was speaking with yesterday, and I said, you can buy a square box, but you can't have the infrastructure that we added here. Everything from underground plumbing, electrical, all the stuff we did on the front end, adding LED lights so we're eco-friendly, recycling area where we recycle all our corrugated. I mean, we added so many stuff to help us be green and leave a small footprint that we didn't have before. And so that was something critical to our team that we really wanted to implement, and we was able to achieve that here.
I think that that's one of the most common things that I hear from people is like you get when you grow, especially if you grow rapidly, you tend to your business tends to break along the way, right? Like you get to a certain level and the systems that you have just don't work anymore. The building that you have doesn't work anymore. And that's where if you see it all come together at a larger size, it has to be an intentional planned thing. Because if you people grow out of their old situation, and a lot of times they just try to replicate what they did at a smaller size. But a lot of times what happens is I think even production wise, right? I mean, if you try to work like a small shop, but you're really big, it can cause you a lot of problems, I would think.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah, and being in this big open environment, and you'll see the images Kim will share with you later, but being in this environment, it helps production, it helps productivity, but it also there's so many efficiencies. We felt like when we moved here, we gained 20% efficiency right off the top without really doing a whole lot of other stuff, but just by shop layout, workflow, we was able to increase efficiencies by a good 20%. And we gained since then because we're still seeing things we can do better. And we're always looking, how can we be lean? How can we be more efficient? How can we be safer? How can we be cleaner? All of those things. And we're constantly meeting, talking, and evolving. So it's ever changing even today.
yeah, it's a big deal now, and it can set you apart from one company to another. Did you guys, was it fairly recent that you were printing water-based, or you've been printing water-based for a long time?
No, that's a recent addition. That is something we recently added. So that is a
Yeah.
new addition, and we're loving it. I mean, it's that embracing change, if you will, is something you've got. I think people fear it, and there's nothing to fear about it. It's just a different process, and if you'll try it, I think you'll find it's very doable. It's something that's it's just a little different model than plastisol. So.
Well, you guys certainly do a great job at it. I mean, I saw some of the awards you guys have won and some of the prints that you've got that are really fun. And I have like a half, I have like what they call a Chihuahua dog, which is half Chihuahua, half Dachshund. So I appreciate the one print that you guys did a lot, because
That is
just for
actually
some
our
entertainment.
Chihuahua. I have that Chihuahua. He's still with me. He's 16 years old. Poor soul is getting old, but those are actually his images. We used our Chihuahua to start that, and we've used him now for probably 10 or 12 years. I mean, we've used him yearly in a design, and he's been one of our #1 sellers. I mean, he is a top seller. We call him the king. That's why, because he literally rises to the top when we use him in a design. So it's incredible.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
great.
love it. We're like, that's our dog. And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, seriously, that's our dog.
No, I tell you what, they're with you all day and working and everything. So it's good to have them included. And hey, if they sell, all much the better, right? I would think.
We got a loud chow mix. We tease him when we go home. Him and my wife will say, well, Pepe made money this month. What have you done?
That's right.
You're just sitting around the house. You're not earning any money. You're going to step it up, dude.
That's it. That's it. Now, in regards to like social media and merchandising stores, what does that look like for your company? How invested are you there, and how important has that been for your company?
It's integral part. It's not a really high percentage, but we do use it. I'll let Kim touch on the social media and web stores. We offer it for, and it's growing. I do feel it is a growing part of our business because more and more of our corporate accounts want that service. And so we've expanded, and Kim's been instrumental in implementing these policies. So I'll let Kim touch on that, please.
Yeah, I'll speak a little to the social media side to begin with. So first of all, know that like I've been over marketing here for a short period of time, just about a year. I've been in that role. And we have honestly just transformed the way we're doing social media within that year. And, you know, we were pushing things before, we were posting things before, but they were not intentional. And that's the best way I can kind of think to speak to it. And what we've found is that when we're intentional with our social media, our associations change our business. The associations we've made with M&R through social media, the associations we've made with impressions through social media, all of those have given us an abundance of opportunities. Yeah. And so it's just about the way we're associating in our company, you know, in our environment there on social media. So we do have good relationships with our customers, but we've really seen kind of a corporate shift in our social media, and it's provided us with an incredible amount of opportunities. So we are a lot of online stores, and through the pandemic, that's something that has grown tremendously. We've had companies, we've had restaurants, we've had just organizations in general looking for a way to provide their people with merchandise without having to come in contact with them. And so it's been a growing business right here for us in the past 8 weeks. And we have learned a tremendous amount through that. You know, just the whole process of taking the individual orders, setting up that web store for them, providing shipping processes for them. And as Jamie said, it's definitely a business that's growing. And it's one that we're excited about. It's cool what you can offer people when they have no idea that that's even out there. You know, if people don't know, then they don't even know to ask for it. So that's something that we've been trying to provide our customers with. This is something we offer to you. Take advantage of it. And it has changed the way we're doing things. So
that's great. I think that investment in there reaps benefits that you don't necessarily anticipate. Like one of the benefits that I've noticed, and just me reaching out to a lot of the printing partners and different people that I have, is just this community that we're starting to put together, and learning that, hey, here's different people we can lean on for different things, you know. And in some cases, you know, well, there's some businesses that are willing to invest in themselves beyond what other businesses are, in a sense, you know. And somebody would probably kick me from the back end of M&R if I didn't mention that you guys, I know you guys, you know, looked at the hybrid and became a, you know, a digital squeegee user, and that to us just really shows as a company that you're willing to look at the future, you know, and you're willing to invest in that and have options in printing. And honestly, you know, and I haven't said this before, but the digital squeegee and the hybrid technology is one of the main reasons that I came on board at M&R, you know, a number of years ago, was because I was so excited about, I came from Harley, and all the separations that I had to do that were 14 color, the pain, you know, and looking at that. So it'd be good for us to just touch on that just briefly in regards to that process. What's that been like for you guys?
It's incredible, and yes, we was the first digital squeegee in Georgia. So we was thrilled with that, and you know, it's we won the Golden Image Award in simulated, and I think you saw that image. So we replicated it on the digital, and I know the two difference, but I promise you, I can lay them down side by side and can get confused to which one is which. It's that, you know, it's that incredible. I mean, it really, that digital squeegee is good. And I talk to people out in Long Beach and Dallas, you know, I had doubters, if you will, about the hybrid printing, and, you know, don't know if it's really here yet. I'm not sure, I'm not sold on it. I told them, no, they need to put me on payroll because I walked around touting that digital squeegee the whole time. But I really believe in the technology, and I really believe in what they've done. It's a great, I mean, it's really a great piece of equipment. Will it improve over the next few years? I believe it will. I think there's, you know, we'll look back just like we did the old DTSs and say, wow, that technology, when I bought the first one, I had the first, DTS machine, and we just kept upping it, the eye image and, all of that. We stepped up as the technology did. And that's something I'm proud of with our shop. We try to stay on the front end of the wave, if that makes sense. When the technology's there, we don't want to jump in front of the wave, but as the wave is cresting, we want to be on top of that crest. And that's something we strive to constantly be up to date on. Let's stay up to date on our art techniques, on our digital techniques, and on every aspect of the business. Let's try to stay up on that curl and stay right up on top of our industry. And it's an incredible tool, and we're thrilled to have it. I see us adding additional down the line. I really do. I think it's that good.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that too. We Jamie sent a team of us out to Chicago to M&R to train with you guys on the DS right before it was delivered here. And the conversations we had were, okay, we can change a little, we can learn this on the front end, right? Or we're gonna get left. And that was kind of our mentality toward it, is we can't throw this away, we can't throw an opportunity away. So we're gonna learn it, we're gonna change with it now on the front, be a little uncomfortable, and then we're set for the future.
That's a good analogy, because we've seen it, we've had, it's almost like you can categorize people. You could say some people are, if there's a new innovation, they immediately get in the skeptical mode, and there's other people that are they're the early adopters, maybe the pain acceptors, and then there's other people that I would say they're responsibly curious, right? They're like, I want to see more, I want to understand more about this, and that's really where I see you guys fitting, and that's where a good spot to be in, right? You're curious, you want more information, you're not going to dive in there and do something that doesn't make sense for your company. I mean, I'd be curious if you had other tips for other printers. Maybe they're not quite as established as your company, but they're, kind of coming through things, and in regards to either technology or making things efficient. What are your thoughts as far as for other printers?
I wrote this down, and I know it's not direct, but I'll answer that question. And I go back to a quote Ted Turner used years ago. He said, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. And that's a true statement. If you are in our industry and you're not willing to get your butt up early, and you're not willing to work Saturdays, Sundays, none of us want to do that. I tell people, I said, do you think I want to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, the rest of my life? No, I do not. But if that's what it takes, that's what we do. And that's kind of been our mantra all along. Do what it takes to succeed. And if you're willing to go out there and do that, you will find success. It may take you a minute, but if you'll apply yourself and, the equipment, staying on top of the better, I always tell people, you can buy, and not necessarily cheaper, but you can buy a lesser piece of equipment, and that's what you got. They go, well, I don't understand why he can print a digital squeegee image or a simulated process and win a golden image, and you're like, well, that 4-color manual is just not going to get you there. You're not going to be able to achieve that if that's your mindset. So it depends on the size of your shop and what your mentality, what do you want to do with the business? I always aspired to be a larger business. I wanted to have 100 employees. I wanted to have that size growth. And that was my mindset from early on. I always knew I wanted to get there. How I got there, I wasn't sure of. So I had to just start swimming until I could grow it into that. So that's kind of what I'd recommend. I see a lot of younger shops that feel like it's just going to happen, and it's not. I mean, opportunity's not just going to jump in your lap. You've got to go and work hard for it, because it's not just something that hops in your lap.
I think a lot of shops will look at that and they'll basically say, yeah, I just want to work a certain amount, and then they're, holding their hands out saying, where's the big moment? Where's the opportunity? I think too, a significant hurdle like we've all gone through recently if you're not willing to work hard to figure it out, right? If you're not willing to say, is this an obstacle?
yeah, this was nail biting. I mean, this was serious. It was serious for us. I don't want to play it down as a light thing. This was financially detrimental. It was definitely a major hit, and it has been on anybody. I don't know anybody in any industry that I've talked to that's not been a major hit. I've got friends and clients that are in business, and it's affected us all, from the hospitals, the doctors, to just general business. I mean, it's really been a major hit on all of us, and so I don't want to play that aspect of it down, but you're exactly right. It makes you burrow down and say, okay, this is critical time. What are we going to do? You know, I mean, just like in 2008, that was a critical time in people's business. We buckled down. We did what we had to do. It was unfortunate. People got furloughed back in that crisis in 2008. But you did what you had to do. And then you started valuing each position even more. You said, we all got to have strength in these times so we can come through this stronger and better, you know, when we come out of this thing. And that's been our position. And me and Kim shared this. What are we going to look like as we come out of here? Because this has definitely changed us. It's changed our industry. How are we going to come out looking better than we did when we went into this? And that's kind of our goal. So
It's a good goal to have. It's tough, you know. I think that, but a lot of companies have found different ways of making it, you know. And I've been really impressed with the stuff that you guys have done. I want to be respectful of your time. How can people reach out to you, or how do you want people to connect with you in social media? Maybe just give us a couple of tips on how you want people to find out more about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. Best way to contact us is a variety of ways, really. Facebook at the Cedarstream Company, and then Instagram, the Cedarstream Company. You can always email us, right? We're super quick there, so that's just going to be salesteam@cedarstream.com. And you can also find us on LinkedIn, the Cedarstream Company.
Great. Well, we'll put all the links in the notes on this, and I really appreciate you guys' time. And I look forward to the chance of getting down there to see you guys. So I love it down there, and you know, I don't know what the future holds for the show this year, you know, the Printing United show, but you know, we've got our fingers crossed there, and then, you know, for sure, hopefully I'll see you again in Long Beach. So thanks again for your time, guys.
thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much.